Sorry, welcome back to the classic era football week number 1. This is the 1980 Atlanta Falcons at the 1979 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this is the last, or the last of the televised early games. So you'll see scores from other noon Central or 1 p.m. Eastern games, and of course the Thursday night game that was broadcast. You'll certainly see that score at the bottom as well. And we'll still have the afternoon game, Sunday night and Monday night games coming before we wrap up week 1. So what do we got today? We got the Falcons from 1980 and the Buccaneers from 79. There's a look at the quarterback, Steve Bartkowski versus Doug Williams. The opening kick of the new season is straight ahead. Turn it over to our So we will, let me set this up. There you see the 79 Buccaneer uniforms, creamsicles. Makes it hard to root against them. Falcons are going to go ahead and kick this off. Out comes Doug Williams. In 1979, he was 166 out of 397 for 2,448 yards, 18 touchdowns, but 24 interceptions. He also added 119 yards rushing with 2 rushing touchdowns. So he can move, but that's not really the strength of his game or anything. First play is a handoff to the back, Jerry Eckwood. Small gain there. Take a look at the starters real quick. Across the line, you have Revis, Horton, Wilson, Roberts, and Charlie Hanna. Ricky Bell and Jerry Eckwood, the running backs. Giles, the tight end. Wide receivers, Isaac Higgins and Morris Owens. Ricky Bell went over 1,200 yards, and Eckwood added another 690. So the Buccaneers definitely a running team. In 79. Let's take a look at the defenders. You got Yates, Smith, Fields across the line. Dinkin, Richardson, Kayendall, Pridemore, Glazebook, Lawrence, and Baez. So they gave Baez the start rather than the rookie Kenny Johnson. Which is okay, I guess. They did. Well, Kenny Johnson actually, I think, did start almost every game, so it's a little bit unfortunate. Actually, the man is going to challenge that one. So we're going to have a challenge. Remember last year the tablet was introduced. Most people seem to be happy with how that went, so it's bad. Did his toe stay in bounds? That's what we got to determine here.
Anything you can do to take some of the lulls out of the game and keep it moving, both for the players and, of course, for fan interest, I'm in favor of it. And for us, too. No doubt. First down and 10 now for the offensive group. Double tight, guys, double tight.
So they determine it is indeed a catch. And there's Nafzinger in motion. They'll hand it off to Eckwood again. And he gets another, well, this time maybe a yard. So 2 carries, just the 1 yard.
Just a yard on the pickup there. That'll bring up a 2nd and 9. Nice job by the defensive front there to hold him to a short gain on first down. Well played, I must say. Yeah, only getting 1 yard. There was no room to run. Alert, alert. Let's go.
Doug Williams back up to the line. He will fake the handoff this time. He's got time. Turns, fires, and hits his man across the 40-yard line. Doug Williams off to a 2-for-2 start. He hit his tight end Jimmy Giles on that one. Now Doug Williams from the shotgun. 1st and 10. He will take off and run across the 35-30 and brought down after a gain of 8. Doug Williams will run time for time, much more effective at it than the Falcons quarterback will be, but hopefully we won't see too much running from either of these guys. Now the turn and the give, and a huge hole across the 20 into the red zone. Ricky Bell with his 2nd carry, he's up to 17 yards. He was the better back, but again, both backs were dangerous. Bell, of course, went over 1,200 yards. Eckwood was just under 700. And there's a quick throw from Doug Williams. He hits his man all the way down to the 2. Williams off to a 3-for-3 start. That time he connected with Morris Owens, starting wide receiver, and that brings about 1st and goal. Bucks driving right down the field. There's the handoff. Is that Ricky Bell? He just pushes his way into the end zone. That must be Bell. It is number 42. That's a touchdown. And the 79 Buccaneers take the lead 6-0 over the Atlanta Falcons. So the Bucks drove that ball right down the field. I didn't even get a chance really to tell you about the 79 Bucks, but I'm sure they'll have a slower drive and we'll get a little bit more into the specifics. The Bucks are here by the strength of their defense. The 80 Falcons were actually good at both. Most people consider their strength the offense. And I mean, it's a good thing to say that, because if you thought the defense was their strength and the Bucks just did that to them, that would be a bad situation for Falcon fans. So Falcons have the ball. They'll send out their quarterback now, number 10, Steve Bartkowski. Bartkowski in 1980 was 257 of 463, over 3,500 yards, 31 touchdowns, just 16 interceptions. Now, as far as running, he did run the ball 25 times, but only for 35 yards. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns, just like Doug Williams did. Bartkowski, nice throw across the middle, and he hits his receiver for the 1st down, a gain of 23 yards. Look at that, on the money. Alfred Jenkins, the Pro Bowl receiver, on the other end of it.
So the offense has it 1st and 10.
White with the tackle, by the way. Jarvis White, the corner. Bartkowski's going to throw again. No, he's actually going to take off and run, and he's going to get a nice gain, a gain of 10 yards. Bartkowski, not a runner. Again, 25 carries, just 35 yards. But Madden 18 loves the running quarterback. So again, it's 1980 versus 1979 here in Classic Era Football, but we're playing on Madden 18, so the quarterbacks will take off and run too often. Bartkowski on the play action pass. He tries to fit it in to a double coverage. He's got a fairly strong arm, but it's not that strong. Here's your line. Ken, Scott, Van Note, Thielman, and Bryant across the line. The backs are Kane and Andrews, Jenkins, Francis, the receivers, and Miller's the tight end. Now, the Falcons put up a bunch of yards. The Bucks, much less yardage than the Falcons put up. So the Falcons have numbers such as Andrews led the team in rushing with over 1,300 yards, but Kane had over 900. So those two combined for over 2,200 yards on the ground. They also had a combined 75 catches for another almost 700 yards. So the backs are explosive on this Falcon team, as well to our Wallace Francis and Albert Jenkins, the wide receivers. And Junior Miller is also a Pro Bowl tight end. So team again is loaded on offense. Handoff, he'll cut it back. And Kane gets 6 yards now. Bucks went right down the field and put it in the end zone. The Falcons trying to do the same. Now they're going to fake it. And Barkowski looks deep down the field, throws it into a bunch of cream-colored jerseys. The orange dream-colored jerseys. Knocked away. Here's your defense. Kohler in the middle, Chambers, and Leroy Selman. Best player on the team is your defensive end. Linebacker Cecil Johnson, Rick Bonus, Selman's brother, and then Lewis. White, Cotney, Brown, and Washington across the secondary. Of course, Leroy Selman is the player of note there. Dewey Selman, not quite. Actually, nowhere near as good. Oh, that could have been picked off, but it was dropped by the corner there. I believe that was Mike Washington who dropped that interception. Now, the Falcons, Tim Mazzetti. He's a pretty good field goal kicker from 50 yards. Could go either way. Hey, Shane, thanks for joining. Again, this is the first time you've tuned into Classic Era Football, this is, I have two of these types of leagues going on. One's called Best Era Football, this one's Classic Era Football. Classic Era is basically going from 1961 through 1984, and then Best Era has my favorite teams from 1984 through the year 2000. So this, of course, is the Classic Era. So 1980 Falcons against 79 Buccaneers. You'll see some scores again across the bottom as this is the last of the early games. So you'll see the early games going on there at the bottom. That was the 76 Patriots and 68 Jets going at it, tied 7-7. Buccaneers come back out. Doug Williams under center. He'll turn and get, no, he fakes it to Eckwood. Comes up, fires to no one in particular. That's his first incompletion. So, the Buccaneers in 1979, the league at the time consisted of 28 teams. And that's true for 1980 as well, so both these numbers are referring to 2018 league. The Buccaneers were the 21st in offense, so not very good despite what they did in the first drive of this game. Oh, hit as he throws it, but the arm strength is still good enough to get it out of bounds. They went 10-6 despite the 21st offense. Why? Because they had the best defense in the league, averaged under 15 points per game, led again by the best player on the team, Leroy Selman, a all-pro defensive end. In fact, the only Pro Bowler on this team. So, Doug Williams takes off again. He has 2 rushes for 17 yards, but Leroy Selman, he was so good for his whole career, really. I mean, he was an amazing player. But in 79, and then for a couple of years there, but more so 79, he was so good that he just willed the team players around him to play way above their averages and turn into a sensational defense for 1 year in 1979. That punt's a little too strong and into the end zone for a touchback. Oh, okay, yeah, sack to the future. Of course, the collaborative effort, which is not only here, but of course, hopefully you know the channels by now. Tears 89, the John M channel, and the Vinny X Wolf. The playlists themselves for 1960, 61, and now 62 are all on the Vinny X Wolf channel. So this is a little bit different. So I did all the ratings and everything for these teams. Well, actually, Best Era Football is basically my ratings completely. I did have a little bit of help with just finishing up a couple of teams and putting some equipment on, like 2 full divisions. So I did get some help there. And if you go to Operation Sports Ever, you can see the couple people that did help me out there. And this one, Classic Era Football, this actually started with a roster set from Kappa Late Night. Kappa Late Night is what you would search for. And so he had probably about 19 of the teams that I wanted. So that was a good start. That's more than half the league. And then so I edited the rest of the teams before getting this out there and ready. So the reason it's different, of course, is because I just want to see the games replayed. Don't want to have the influence. So hopefully my ratings make the teams look right and feel like they were. But mostly it's just always going to be simulation, computer to computer. We'll see who wins in both Best Era Football and Classic Era Football. See who is the best of the era. So if you like old-time football, not real old-time football, but if you like football from, in this case, 60s to early 80s, or in Best Era from mid-80s to the year 2000, then this is definitely something good for you to check out. But if you want to, you'll never see, two users going at it or anything. It's always going to be computer simulation. So if you dislike that, this is not the thing for you. But you will see all of that stuff in Sack to the Future, as we do have bonus games which are computer simulation like this, and then of course we certainly have our games where we play against the computer a ton and occasionally against each other as well. Oh, there's a nice run by, looks like that's Ricky Bell again. So we went through the 79 Bucks as far as their initial stats and rankings. The 1980 Falcons were number 5, again out of 28 teams in both offense and defense. So the defense allowed 17 points per game. The offense scored more than 25. So again, they both played 16-game schedules, 79 and 80, and out of 28 teams. So these stats against these two teams, they pretty much, from 79 to 80, they're only 1 year apart, so these stats will really correlate well. The Falcons put 405 points on the board. The Bucks only 273. On defense, though, the Bucks only allowed 237, whereas the Falcons allowed 272. So point differential definitely in favor of the Falcons. But if it turns into a defensive game, then they have to give it to the Bucks. There's Pridemore with a nice sack of Doug Williams. Looked like maybe he might grab the face mask, but he avoided that. Don't need to see the replay of that. So if there's a big play or something, or if I'm just either looking something up or in the middle of talking or something and I forget to skip the replay, then that's when you'll have to watch the replays. But on punts and stuff like that, try not to show the replay, otherwise this turns into almost 2-hour video. I like to keep it near 1 hour. It always goes over, but if I could keep it an hour and 5 minutes or so, that would be ideal. There is a dangerous play as Kane got the ball 5 yards deep into his end zone, but he was able to get it out and avoid the safety. Lynn Kane, a 4th-round draft pick of the Falcons, and again, 1980, he had 914 yards with 8 touchdowns on the ground. He also had 24 catches for 223 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. Both backs, William Andrews and Lynn Kane, are very good runners and receivers. William Andrews, of course, is fantastic and Pro Bowl caliber in both areas. And Kane is good, not Pro Bowl level, but very good backup running back and worthy of splitting time with Andrews. And now on 3rd and 7, Barkowski's going to throw from his end zone. And he puts the ball on the money up to the 30-yard line. Barkowski's second completion. This time he hits number 89, Wallace Francis, for the first down. Francis, the second best receiver, but made it to the Pro Bowl. So both, no, I'm sorry, he did not. Oh, bad idea there from Barkowski. Throws it into double coverage, and Jordan comes down with the interception. So there was no reason for that. Going into double coverage. That's what you get, though. Number 25, Curtis Jordan, the nickel back for the Buccaneers, able to pick that off. And the Bucs come back out, still holding on to a 7-3 lead. Doug Williams back to pass again. He'll throw underneath. And he hits his man. For 50. Wait, what? Oh, Nafziger. Number 51. It confused me. I thought maybe someone was out of position, but no, he is a tight end who wore number 51. Dana Nafziger. There's Bell getting stopped on the edge rush by the corner. 3rd and 1, pretty big play here. Williams will turn, he will fake it and go with the play action pass, and I think he had his man, but he led him too far and ends up being incomplete. There you see down below the 1972 Miami Dolphins taking on the Canadian Football League All-Stars from that time period. So any individual team from the Canadian Football League would just get absolutely trashed against these great teams from the NFL. So what I did there is those are basically all the best, or I believe everyone on the team has made the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame that happened to play in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. Barkowski 2 of 7 with 49 yards and that interception, which was his last pass throw. Barkowski, of course, was a Pro Bowler. 31 touchdowns, just 16 interceptions. Was the #1 pick in the entire draft in 1975. 1980. He's a 28-year-old quarterback, so right in his prime. To total yards, the Bucs lead 104-71. And again, we're using what rules are in place in Madden 18, so that means these guys are in the South Division. So they will play again in Atlanta. This is the first meeting between these two here in Tampa Bay. Not sure if that one will be broadcast, however. Most likely it will not be, since we're watching this one, unless this becomes just the absolute epic game, or they happen to play that second one on Monday night. There you see Doug Williams was across the line when he let that one. I'm sorry, Barkowski was across the line when he let that pass go. So the incompletion is actually worse than that. It's a 5-yard loss and loss of down. And the Falcons offense, who was very explosive, having a hard time with this #1 defense of the 79 Buccaneers. Ooh, slammed to the ground. For 37, Kenny Johnson taking out his frustration of not starting today as they let Baez start instead of Johnson. But he's still making tackles on the special teams. And he's the cornerback today instead of the starter. Play action pass from Doug Williams. He'll roll out to the right, still rolling. Now he tucks it. He's going to run for the third time. And he breaks a couple of tackles and gets the first down. Huh. Well, if Doug Williams is going to be this good of a runner and the Falcons are going to refuse to spy him, maybe they just keep going with it. No player on the Buccaneers in '79 had more than 40 receptions, so it shows you the lack of explosive passing offense that they have. But Doug Williams was able to spread it around. Get 22 catches, 25 catches for the two backs. Another 39 from one receiver, 40 from the tight end. A couple other 20s from second and third receivers. But no big play. No Pro Bowlers at all on offense, actually. Just the one on defense. There's a handoff to Ricky Bell. He was close to being an all-star with over 1,200 yards, but he was not elected.
The Bucs on third down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. This is
Third and 12 now. Doug Williams needs to come up with something. Fake it. I don't think anyone bought that, but Doug Williams will go underneath. It's his 5th completion, but not enough for first down. Tackle made by number 54, Fulton Kuykendall, the 8th-year player from UCLA. Sorry, not 8th-year player. He was drafted in '75, so 6th year.
Here comes the Buccaneers punter now.
If my math is correct.
Terrific so far. This is away, but boy, headed straight for the sidelines. And no return here.
Tom Blanchard punts it not as well as he wanted to, but it does go out at the 22-yard line. And Steve Bartkowski and the Atlanta Falcons will take over again. And off to Kane, that's his 7th carry. He has 11 yards only. It looks like maybe they need to get William Andrews a little bit more involved.
So nothing there, but maybe you blame that on the blocking. Yeah, at some point you got to win at the point of attack, and on that play, that was all the defense. They made it happen.
Bartkowski from the shotgun. We'll give it to Kane again. Nice blocking on the outside this time. And he's able to get a much better 7 yards. 6 minutes left in this first half. Each team scoring on their opening drive, and then all defense since then. Bartkowski will fake it and run right into a sack as Lewis comes flying through and gets the sack. Dave Lewis, the outside linebacker. The 25-year-old from USC. Sacking the 28-year-old from Cal. All right, Fields at the 27, makes one move around the 40, gets out to the 42-yard line. Decent return from Ragsdale there. So if nothing else, we might prove it who's the better punter between Tom Blanchard and John James. Not sure that's what you tuned in for, but that's what you're getting. Now the opening game of Classic Era football between the 76 Vikings and 79 Saints You got all kinds of offense in an extremely high-scoring game. So this is the exact opposite of that. Doug Williams has been the best weapon on Tampa Bay, but he's done it with his legs. Again, he only ran for 120 or 119 total yards in 79, but he's got 40 already in week 1. Doug Williams off his back foot, throws it. That was a dangerous throw, but he basically threw it away from everyone for the incompletion. There you saw Johnson. Johnson's in on this one as they go with the nickel. And they'll hand it to Ricky Bell, and he runs the wrong way into where the Falcons defense was. We had the safety Tom Pridemore with the tackle behind the line. 3rd and 12 now. Doug Williams from midfield. Of course, 8 years later, Doug Williams would win the Super Bowl as quarterback of the Washington Redskins. But before all that, he was on the first legitimate Buccaneers team, which was these 1979 Bucs. There you saw down below Memphis leading the Dallas Cowboys. What's that all about? Well, most of these teams are from when the league was 28 teams or less. So there's 4 teams kind of left over. And one of those teams was turned into the Memphis, I think they're the Steamboats or something like that. Basically, they're supposed to represent the Showboats from the USFL. So that's the USFL All-Star team. Herschel Walker, Jim Kelly, a lot of good players on that team. And they were beating the 77 Cowboys, so 77 Cowboys is a fantastic team, so that USFL team definitely showing they can compete here in week 1 at least. There's Kane again, a couple of yards. Heavy dose of Kane here in the first half. I wonder if they will switch that up and use William Andrews more, or if the game plan is just to pound Lynn Kane to try to open up other things in the passing game. Play action pass, Bartowski. Throws it incomplete. He's just 2 of 9. Not the start that Bartowski wanted. Low snap. Bartowski able to field that one. He'll give it to Andrews, just his 3rd carry. He has 6 yards now. Low snap might have threw off the timing for the offensive lineman. At least it wasn't a fumble or anything. So this number 1 ranked 79 Buccaneers defense comes up with another stop and forces yet another punt by John James. This is a good one. Maybe too good. No, beautiful punt down inside the 10-yard line. So Doug Williams will come out and see what he can do in a 2-minute drive. Again, their defense is in control of this game, even though it's only 7-3. They cannot turn the ball over because that's the one thing that could screw up a good defensive game. There you see Kuykendall making another play. That's his 3rd tackle and 1st sack. Comes right in, untouched on the blitz. Doug Williams covers up nicely, but takes a shot. And neither team calls timeout, which allows the clock to go all the way down to minute 14. You expect a run here from the Bucs. They'll give it to the up back, the fullback. And the Falcons will call timeout. So 1 minute and 8 seconds to go. How do the Bucs play this? Do they play it safe? Run the ball, take away the Falcons' second, or last timeout actually, as the Falcons had to spend one earlier on the failed challenge. So if they can take away their last timeout, because they only have the one, I think that's the right call. You take away their last timeout and then punt it. Hand off, and oh, nice run. He almost got the 1st down all the way up to the 18. Oh, but then someone on the Bucs is injured, which allows the Falcons to keep their timeout. Terrible luck for the 79 Bucs. That was supposed to take away the Falcons' last timeout and stop them from getting the ability to score here at the end. but it backfired. Another good punt pins him to the sidelines, but he's able to catch it and stay in bounds and get it all the way up to the 48. Nice return by Smith. A couple things going right for the Falcons there. And now Bartkowski, who's been pretty horrendous so far this half, if he can just put a couple completions together, they can at least cut it down to a 1-point game. Bartkowski from the shotgun. Comes up, fires across the middle, first down up to the 31-yard line. Bartkowski now 3 of 10, 70 yards. That time he found number 80, Junior Miller, the all-pro tight end. Showed off his arm strength on that one. That was a laser to the middle of the field. Bartkowski now again from the 30, comes up, throws again across the middle, another first down, and that's what holding on to that timeout does. He's able to use the middle of the field twice. They still have a timeout. They can get one more play off and still go to the middle of the field. Bartkowski fires towards the middle, complete and touchdown. What a drive by Bartkowski and the Falcons, and a couple things that went against the Bucs, a couple unlucky things in a row. Give the Falcons just a crack in the door there, and Bartkowski and Francis slam it open for the touchdown. So this fantastic offense of the 80 Falcons finally gets in a groove against the top-ranked 79 Buccaneers defense and takes the lead with just 10 seconds to go. 10-7. It's a good return out to the 35, but I think the Bucs are probably still going to just kneel the ball here. Let's see. Oh, Doug Williams from the shotgun. Maybe he will try to throw. They do have timeouts. He can do a quick, like, 12-yard pass here and then set up a Hail Mary. Oh, he's going to launch it here. And it's incomplete. There is 1 second to go. But had he caught it, that would have took all the timeout. So not sure why they went with that approach. Oh, the Canadian Football All-Stars making it close against the 72 Dolphins. Doug Williams last play, and he's going to run it for the last play and just take another unnecessary shot. Questionable coaching from the Bucs late in the first half, and the Falcons take the lead, 10-7. Bucs will kick it to the Falcons. Good return out to the 29-yard line. Here you see the 1981 Bengals taking the lead on the 79 Houston Oilers. By the way, if you don't know, the Oilers actually have 2 teams, as the Tennessee, what shows up as the Tennessee Titans. That's actually the 1961 Houston Oilers, as they do have that uniform in as an alternate uniform for the Titans. And of course the Titans weren't anything. The Tennessee Titans were not a team back in this era. And then of course you saw with the Houston Oilers logo and everything, the 79 Oilers were in a matchup with the 81 Bengals. And I know, Shane, you said you were watching Sack to the Future, so 1961, of course, you'll recall the 1961 Houston Oilers were in the Super Bowl for Sack to the Future, as they were the AFL champions in 61, and they did make it into the Classic era. Football League here, so they live on. Billy Cannon and George Blanda and all them. Bartkowski play action pass. Fires deep and intercepted. Number 34 brings it all the way back to near midfield. Brown with the interception. Bartkowski did not have his feet set, and Cedric Brown takes advantage. The 25-year-old from Kent State University, 12th round pick by the Raiders. Finds himself on the 79 Bucks team, and that's a perfect example of a guy I'm talking about. Picked in the 12th round, not heralded as, you know, a great safety or anything, but and he wouldn't become amazing throughout his career or anything, but in 79, seems like Leroy Selman just was able to put the team on his back and cause all of his teammates on that side of the ball to just come together and have the greatest year of their lives to put together for 1 year at least a fantastic defense.
So they're left with a 3rd down and 6. So nothing there. I don't know that that's all in the back, though. You got to look at blocking there, don't you?
Now, by the way, I'm not saying Cedric Brown was a bum or anything. I mean, he did start in, well, for a few years. I think he probably played like close to 10 years in the league. Never a Pro Bowler, though, so that's what I mean. Never a great safety, but good enough to be a starter. I think he probably started over 90 games in his career. So again, I'm not saying this is a bunch of bums, that Leroy Selman is a Superman and turned them from bums to great players, but just average, you know, average starters at each position with one superstar at defensive end, and put it all together and led the league in defense in 79. There's another great punt. Again, this is turning into the Blanchard versus James punt fest. And Blanchard might have just taken the lead there. See if the Falcons go back to Kane or if Andrews will finally get one. They will give it to Kane. 10th carry, 21 yards. Andrews hasn't done much better. He's also averaging just 2 yards, but the fact that they've only given him 3 attempts has been a little suspect. There's an explosive run. That's what happens when you give it to Andrews. Just like that, he's averaging over 4 yards a carry. Andrews explodes up the middle to the 17-yard line. Barkowski now from the shotgun. Jenkins in motion. Barkowski rolls a little bit to the right, sets his feet, and then gets rid of it, throws it out of bounds. 5 of 14. 100 yards. He had that one nice touchdown pass in the first half, as the first half was ending. And he's thrown 2 interceptions. He set his feet on that one, but then just threw it out of bounds anyway. So remember last time when he didn't set his feet, he threw the pick. When he sets his feet, he has a nice delivery. He's a strong enough arm for sure. Above average arm strength. And good form when he sets his feet. But he's not the guy that needs to be throwing on the run. He's not. Well, even Brett Favre threw interceptions throwing off his back foot, but he's not Brett Favre. That's not his game. And Andrews, after the big run last time, gets nothing on this carry. And the Bucs are going to force another punt.
The defense is going to win an occasional battle, and they did on that one. Stopped him well short of picking up a first down.
Oh, boy. Well, the punting contest was almost just lost there, but he actually gets extra points for avoiding the block there. James fumbled or had problems, I should say, with the snap, but got it under control just in time. Here you see the 7-2 Redskins taking on the 63 Giants. Close matchup. 81 Bengals taking a lead on the 79 Oilers there. Here's a handoff to Eckwood. He's now up to 19 yards now after getting 6 on that one. Doug Williams from the shotgun. Quick throw out to Eckwood for the first down. Nope, that's Bell, sorry. Eckwood's 43, Bell's 42. Sometimes makes it hard to know the difference, but that was Ricky Bell on that catch. And that's Ricky Bell again. The Falcons thought they stopped him, but Bell's legs never stopped moving, and he gets another 8 yards. And the Buccaneers are up to 109 yards on the ground. Of course, 40 of that is the scrambling of Doug Williams, but total yards are about even now. There's a handoff again, and Ricky Bell's going to take over this game. 14 carries, 52 yards.
It's a 7-yard carry to set them up with a 2nd and 3. Well, no matter how they phrase it, staying out.
Doug Williams from the shotgun. Now, after all that running, will some passing lanes be open? He's not going to try it. He's going to hand it off again. Why not use what's working? Another broken tackle, and Bell's all the way down to the 10-yard line. Ricky Bell's up to 87 yards as he is taking over the game on this drive. After making the catch to get that first down of the drive, it's been all handoffs to Ricky Bell. He's just plowing over tacklers and all the way down to the 10. Williams back to pass now. Throw underneath, and that ball is caught and held on to. 5 minutes to go in the third. Buccaneers down by 3. They're already in field goal range. They're trying to take the lead here if they can put it in the end zone. Doug Williams throws it out. That's complete, but not much. Gain maybe 2 more yards. 3rd and goal from the 4. Oh, the USFL All-Stars just taking it to the 77 Cowboys. And they will hand it off on 3rd and goal. And Ricky Bell, I think, oh no, they say he's down at the 1. I thought he got the ball across the line. He's as close as you can be. It's not challenged, though. And the Bucs will settle for a game-tying field goal opportunity. And, of course, that kick is good. We're tied at 10 with 3.5 to go in the third. Hey, Shane, so are you a fan of a particular NFL team? I mean, in real, in 2019. What team do you root for if you're still there? If Shane's not there, anyone watching can answer that. I'd like to know what, if you're rooting for a particular person in this game, I'd like to know that as well, but just in general, I'm a Bears fan, so my heart was broken when Cody Parkey hit the upright for the 27th time this year. That's an exaggeration. I think he only hit it 9 times, but still, it was a ridiculous amount to hit the upright in one season. Barkowski's going to take off running. Second time he's done that. Barkowski from the shotgun. Someone needs to tell him to use his arm and not his legs. Now he'll throw it to Andrews, who's just, no, I'm sorry, that's Kane. And Kane just gets out of bounds right away. 3rd and 13. Barkowski comes up, fires across the middle, and it's knocked down by number 34, Cedric Brown, who had an interception earlier today. And another punt from John James. Last time he had troubles with the snap. This time he feels it cleanly and gets the punt off with no pressure at all. From the 25 across the 35. Nice move made there. He gets across the 40. A good return from number 23, George Ragsdale, the 27-year-old from North Carolina A&T. And that gives the Buccaneers pretty good field position. Cowboys and Raiders. Well, then, of course, you know that the one of the teams that's controlled in Sack to the Future is the Cowboys. And then I control the Broncos in Sack to the Future, so you'll get to see the Raiders at least twice a year. When they always play me tough. I think I've beaten them most of the time, all but one. But they're terrible in the early 60s, and they still make it tough because, well, for Bronco fans, Raiders are just annoying. Oh, Doug Williams overshoots his receiver and throws it right into the hands. Is that Johnson? That might be the guy that was not given the start. Pick six. No. That's not Johnson. That is Roland Lawrence. He is the starter. The starter that kept his job for this one picks it off and returns it for a touchdown, and the Falcons regain the lead. So here in Classic Era, you're looking at the 77 Cowboys, who are not broadcast, as you saw their score flashing across at the bottom against the USFL All-Stars. They were not broadcast in week 1, but I'm sure they will be soon, as that was a fantastic team from 77. And the 76 Raiders also, so two great teams, Super Bowl winning teams. Two of the favorites in this league, I would say, in best era football. Cowboys are one of the favorites there as well, as that's the 93 Cowboys. And then the 1990 Los Angeles Raiders would be your other team in that one.
Just a yard on the pickup there, and it'll bring up a 2nd and 9. Partner, you know I love to point out when teams break tendency and do something a little bit different from the norm. But when you run the ball in the first play of the drive, that's not a tendency breaker at all. That's just trying to establish yourself as you move forward. Here we go!
There's the give to Bell again. 19 carries, 94 yards with the touchdown. And that's the end of the third quarter. So the pick six is the difference through 3. Falcons 17, Bucks 10.
Start the fourth quarter.
1983, okay. Yeah, I actually, when, I think the first, so I heard part of the, unfortunately, even though I'm a Bears fan, I wasn't too young. I know some people liked football when they were like 4 years old, but for whatever reason, my parents were not actually big into sports. Actually boxing, but not regular team sports. And so I just was a little bit late to the party. So in '85, I heard some of the, with all the commotion of the Bears doing the Super Bowl shuffle and everything like that, and proclaiming that they were the champions way before the game was played. I thought it was super cocky and interesting. And so I heard some of it on the radio, and it wasn't very competitive. They destroyed the Patriots. And so I was like, interesting. But didn't really care about it. But then in '86, I caught some on TV and saw a man by the name of John Elway play. And then I was hooked. It's like, okay, John Elway was my favorite player, no doubt. And at first, the Broncos were actually my favorite team because of him. But after I really got into football and started watching more and more, then I became a team of the hometown Chicago Bears. But the Broncos have always been my second team. Not really. Now I don't really care about them. I mean, even with Peyton Manning, it was good to see him win. But I wasn't like hard rooting for the Broncos. They're probably still my second team. But back when Elway was there, it was 1 and 1A. In fact, I always ask myself, if they actually met in the Super Bowl, could I root against John Elway because he was going against the Bears? I probably could have against the Bears only, but it never happened, so I didn't have to do that. But yeah, so right around the same time, I would say I became a football fan in general in '86, and then really started watching in like '88. So the first Super Bowl that I watched, made a plan to watch, and said, okay, I'm not doing anything today but watching the Super Bowl, was the 1988 Super Bowl with the Bengals and the 49ers. By then I was completely hooked, watching all other teams. Before that, I was just watching the Bears because they were on, and the Broncos whenever they were on TV because of Elway. And I realized that they were in the Super Bowl in both the 86 and 87 teams, but again, nobody else in my family liked it, so I really had no clue even when it was on or made it a point to watch it. Pretty sure we had TVs and everything. Maybe since they didn't want to watch it, maybe I just didn't have control of the TV. I don't really remember. But I know the 88 Bengals and 49ers was the first time where I could say, hey, the Super Bowl's going to be on in this house. At least in one of the rooms. A couple more punts happened during all that talk as relive the history.
Jam the receivers at the line here. Press coverage look defensively. Let's go! Flex round! Flex round! Got first down. He'll drop the throw. Throwing for his running back, and he's got him complete. And he'll be inside the 35 now at the 34-yard line. 6 yards on the pickup, and that'll make this a second down. Most of the time when the ball's in the air, you're thinking wide receiver, tight end, but running backs, they can be a big part of any passing offense nowadays. So they complete the pass, and now they face a second down. Double tight, double tight. Come on, let's go. 190. 190. From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. And he will find his man on the outside. And he'll be out of bounds, able to get it down to 25 there. 9 yards on the pickup there, and it keeps the drive alive. Lining up 1st and 10. I'm coming! Here we go! Grand 38! Grand 38! They'll block the throw. And he'll find his man on the end route. Complete. And down inside the 15, shy of the 10. Really nice pickup of 14 yards, and it moves the sticks. One thing I can say pretty safely, that route is not called if you don't have a guy who can throw the ball and put some mustard on it. Because if you go lollipop it in the middle of the field, bad things usually happen. It takes a strong-arm guy who can rifle it in there, and they were able to successfully complete that one. Let's go! Grand 38!
Sorry about that. I got a phone call, so I was silent for a little bit there. The action continues, though. Probably had to watch unnecessary replays. But the Buccaneers, while I was taking a phone call, apparently are trying to tie this thing up 2nd and 8 from the 9-yard line. Quick throw, completion down to the 5, inside the 5 to the 4. That was Jim Obradovich on the reception there, 3rd and 4. Doug Williams turns, fires, completes it, but only a gain of a yard. And now we're in the 4th quarter. Do they go for it? 4th and 2. They could technically get a first down without getting a touchdown, but basically, if you go for it, you're looking in the end zone. They are going to go for it. Here we go. This is not the game, but it's close to it. Doug Williams, 4th and 2. He'll throw it. He'll connect for the touchdown. Nice play call. Ricky Bell, who else would it be today? He has done it all for the Buccaneers, and that touchdown has brought him to within 1. And now Neil O'Donohue will try to tie this thing up. He does. 8 plays, 64 yards, took 4.5 minutes off the clock. 7:43 to go in this one. We're all tied up. The 1980 Atlanta Falcons and the 1979 Tampa Bay Buccaneers tied at 17.
Now the Falcons offense, they get ready to head back out here. Some good games going on in the early window. This might be the best of the bunch. And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this one.
Play action pass. Bartkowski looking deep. Did he catch that? What a fantastic catch. Wallace Francis comes through again. Bartkowski, he had probably a touchdown if, again, he would set his feet and get his arm into the throw, but he throws it on the run, and that makes it slightly underthrown, so Francis has to go up for it. Takes a shot to the back, but hangs on. It's a great catch. Bailing Bartkowski out as that turned into 40 yards. Again, a perfect throw, it's probably a touchdown, but it was good enough to give Francis a chance, and Francis made a big play. And there's Bartkowski again. That was a better throw, but also a very nice catch. This time by Russ Mikeska, the second or backup tight end. Not backup, they ran a lot of 2 tight end sets, but he's the other tight end, if you will, not the Junior Miller All-Pro. Pro Bowler, sorry, not All-Pro. The Falcons coming right down the field after the Bucks just tied it. Fantastic answer here by the Bucks. Now they'll give it to William Andrews, and he will get taken down. Only 20 yards for Andrews today. That's the other Selman, Dewey Selman, coming through with that tackle. 5.5 to go. Falcons trying to regain the lead. There's a quick completion to Junior Miller. Yeah, we were just talking about the Pro Bowl tight end, the one who led the team in touchdown receptions, but he is stopped short of the goal line. 3rd and 5 from the 8. We're inside of 5 minutes now. Bartkowski. Oh, tries to buy time, but eventually gets sacked by Dave Lewis again. Lewis having a good game. 3 sacks by the Buccaneers in total, and with just over 4 minutes to go, they will bring out Tim Mazzetti to try to break the tie. And he does. Falcons 20, Buccaneers 17. Doug Williams, the second-year man, was the 17th overall draft pick last year in '78 from Grambling State. Will have a chance to march his team down and get the win here in week 1 of Classic Era football. You see, he started 5 of 11, but since then he's 10 of 12. Very good second half for Doug Williams. Tampa Bay has more total yards. Ricky Bell has also been a beast here in the second half, but they trail by 3. Doug Williams, of course, one of those 2 incompletions was the pick 6 he threw, and that is the big play of the game so far. Doug Williams trying to use his legs. Gets 4 yards on that carry. He scrambled 6 times today. Second and 7. Just screen pass. Complete. Nice blocking. Just enough for the first down. Williams now 16 of 24. He's up to 149 yards. Ricky Bell has 4 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. He's also run for over 90. Doug Williams drops back, waiting, throwing, completing, and fighting for first down yardage and more up to midfield. This should take us down to the 2-minute warning. So the 1980 Falcons come into Tampa Bay, and they have taken a 3-point lead. But Doug Williams and the home team have the ball at midfield with all 3 timeouts remaining.
Let's see what they come up with offensively after having time to talk it over.
Doug Williams come through here. Shotgun. He's going to take off running again. He gets about 5 yards. Seems like Doug Williams has a little bit more power than people are anticipating. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's not a small guy for sure. This is, of course, before the days of like Cam Newton and things where 6'4" and 220 might seem small. But back in 79 and 80, that was not a small guy at all to play quarterback. Doug Williams takes off again. Well, the 80 Falcons are not used to the running quarterback. Doug Williams is not a guy that ran this often most of the time, but he is doing it today here in Classic Era Football, mostly because Madden 18 just makes you run when you're the quarterback. There's the computer, apparently. I mean, I've even had in Best Era Football, they even made Bernie Kosar take off like 4 or 5 times. And he only had like 4 carries for 5 yards, but still, it's like, it's enough with the running quarterback. But there is no, or at least, I mean, in Madden 18, you can do some things with rosters, but you can't actually change the era and make them play that type of football. Do what we can, though. It's still entertaining. 4th and 1. The Bucks come up inches short of getting that first down, but they will have an easy chance of the field goal, and that is good. 20-20 with just 21 seconds to go. So we're at an hour and 6 minutes, which is about the target time. But this game's not going to end because it's going to overtime. And that's okay. If it's going to be a long video, at least make sure it's a close game.
So out come the Falcons now. They have a little bit of time here to get in the field goal range. Not much.
26-yard line. I think they're probably just going to hand it off. There you go. And Kane will not get the first down, but he got enough yards for the Falcons to call timeout. And now it looks like maybe they're going to go ahead and go for it. From the shotgun. Bartkowski fires. He hits his man near the sidelines. Does not get out of bounds, but that's okay. The Falcons have timeouts. And that'll set up a Hail Mary chance. Thanks, Shane. I'm glad you enjoyed it so far. I think we're going overtime unless the Hail Mary comes through here. Let's see if Bartkowski even has time. He doesn't. He has to throw it too early. Popped up and incomplete. So we're going to overtime here in week 1. And the Buccaneers are going to shake up with the Falcons captains there. Falcons are going to receive as they win the toss. So Steve Bartkowski will have a chance to end this thing before Doug Williams gets on the field. Let's see. So again, it's Madden 18. It is Madden 18 overtime rules, meaning if the Falcons drive down and get a field goal, it will not be over. The Falcons need the touchdown in order to end it without the Bucks getting the ball. There's Kane stumbling his way for a gain of about 30 yards now on 13 carries. There's the handoff, this time to Andrews. He slams through a man at the near midfield and he's gone. William Andrews, they've been using Kane all game, maybe as a rope-a-dope there. They gave it to Andrews. Too much power for the Bucs defender to bring down. He slammed right through that tackle and then showed the speed as he took off for the game-winning touchdown. The 1980 Falcons are victorious. The home team 79 Buccaneers take a loss. Hard-fought game, but it's the Falcons that go to 1-0. And Doug Williams and the Buccaneers fall to 0-1. Well, Thanks for watching, everyone. This is classic era football again. We'll be back with an afternoon game. I do not have my schedule in front of me, so I'm not sure which game I'm bringing you in the afternoon, but we will have one sometime within the next, of course we have Sack to the Future action and stuff, so it might be another 2 weeks, but we'll get some classic era football within the next 2 weeks here. Thanks for watching. Ricky Bell on one side, William Andrews on the other. Two very good backs in action today. It was a good game, but the Falcons come up on top, 26-20. Have a good day, everyone.